Review for Arcadian, starring Nicolas Cage. A father and his twin teenage sons fight to survive in a remote farmhouse at the end of the world. It pretty much sums up the movie. Um, it starts off with Nicolas Cage running, and you see kind of in the background like missiles going off, and you don't really know what's happening, but basically society's collapsing. He has these two sons. I don't know what happened to his wife. They never mentioned that, but I assume maybe she died in the war. And they live in this farmhouse in the middle of nowhere. And there's some farmhouses that they can walk to. And then you realize that at night these creatures come. So I guess that's why the end of the world happened. They don't really answer that. And these creatures come and they can't get into his house though. So they're not that smart, you think. And the first time is his dog can warn them, and this creature's trying to get through one of his doors, and they're holding it back. It doesn't get in. One of the sons thinks that this was it's testing weaknesses in the house. One of the sons is kind of more, I guess, more of like a brainiac. I guess you'd say the other son is more impulsive, maybe more of a fighter. And the other son goes to this other farmhouse. What are their names? Thomas and Joseph. So Joseph's more of the brainiac, and Thomas is more, impulsive, more of like a fighter. He goes to a nearby farmhouse. He's saying that he's helping them, but he's really interested in this girl, Charlotte. And that kind of causes some problems later on in the movie because he's not able to get back to the house before the sun goes down. So yeah, I did like this movie, but it's one of those movies where you've seen it all before, pretty much. I mean, Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead, the remake, all of the Dead movies. A lot of times they're in a house. Zombies are trying to get into the house. Usually it's at night. That movie, I reviewed a movie called like It Comes at Night. This is better than that. I thought that was okay. I'd say this is better. I like Nick because I like Nicolas Cage. Um, and there's countless other movies like this. So it's kind of just like, haven't we seen this all before? But I did find it entertaining, though. I wish they kind of explained where these creatures came from. And so, spoilers. I mean, like, I enjoyed the movie. It's nothing amazing. I've seen it many times. I did enjoy it. I think Nicolas Cage is pretty good in it. He really isn't in the second half that much, but I'll get into that. So, but I do wish that they explained where these creatures came from. Like, they almost, of course, they're all CGI, of course. But it would kind of be hard to do practically because of how they look. Like, to me, what they look like is like, they almost look like messed up Ents from Lord of the Rings. Like, kind of like that, mixed with a werewolf, kind of. They're like kind of long, lanky. They have like a head almost like a dog. The skin just almost looks like bark or something to me, though. And they're kind of, and they have like a bunch of bugs on them, and I think bugs kind of live on them. Kind of like if you pull off like a tree branch that's been on the ground on the bottom. You pull it off, so a lot of times there's like a bunch of bugs living underneath. And even in this movie, when they try and get through that first door in the morning when the sun's out, he's fixing the door and he pulls off a piece of wood and there's a bunch of bugs on the other side. So I guess they like attract insects. It's not really explained. And I know it's like, should you explain these things? I kind of wanted to know a little bit more. But, they explain enough for you to enjoy it. So I do enjoy the movie. Um, Definitely one of the sons, the one that's going to visit his girlfriend. I don't know, he's kind of sloppy. Like, he doesn't make it back to the house in time. He's there with basically his girlfriend, and he's like, I gotta go, and he's running, and he keeps jumping over this crevasse, this like hole in the earth, and he slips and falls into the crevasse. And it seems like you could just go around that because, like, the other son, I never see him jump over it, but he goes to the farm, actually drives this ATV kind of that he fixed. So it's like, why jump over that thing? Like, that these creatures have to hide in the darkness. So it's, willing to guess that maybe there's a creature down there, and there is, and he has to fight it. Nicolas Cage goes out and looks for him. He finds him. Him and his son fight off a number of these creatures. One of them starts to tunnel underneath them, and Nicolas Cage uses like dynamite and blows up the creature, but he gets injured too. So one of his sons basically gets Nicolas Cage injured. He's really messed up. The other farm has medicine. They won't give it to him. They won't give it to him for help. So he has to be back at his house with his son Joseph. Thomas stays at the other farm with his girlfriend. Joseph begins to realize that these creatures are smarter than they look. Earlier, he trapped one of them, which was a cool scene. He acted like he didn't latch the door, and these creatures, it's like weird. They have like hands, but then like it can grow this long spike, and it was like about to go to him, but then he pulls this thing. Trap goes down, and he like wants to study the creatures to maybe find another weakness or something, but the other son Thomas like doesn't like this. He just wants to kill it, and they end up just killing it. And it's like, I don't know, it seems like a good idea to me. Study it. So Thomas is kind of not that smart. Joseph is the brains. But yeah, and then Nicolas Cage is injured. He's in the house. Thomas is in the other house. He tries to steal the medicine. He almost gets killed by some of the other guys that live there. They're going to blow his legs off or something. And then the finale happens, and they basically start tunneling under these houses, and they kill everyone in the other house, and Thomas barely makes it out alive with his girlfriend, and they run back to Nicolas Cage's house. So, like I've said, you've seen this movie many times before. I do think it has a nice look to it, kind of a stylish cinematography, I would say. definitely low budget. You know, there's just like there's the two houses. There's them when they're in the crevasse. There's really not many locations. You know, there's probably like 15, 20 people in the movie total. Most of the money was probably used on CGI of the monsters. Um, but yeah, and I've heard complaints that Nicolas Cage is in the front of the poster, like this poster, and his sons are in the back, and it's like, oh, I thought he would be in the movie more. I pretty much right away was like, okay, I bet these guys are the stars, and they are, and he's just kind of there in the background, which is what it is. Because after he gets injured, he's kind of just out of the movie. He's in pain, he's unconscious, and then the very end happens, and that's kind of a complaint too, because like I said, spoilers. Um, if you're a fan of these types of movies, I check it out. It's only like an hour and a half. I also thought the music was pretty good, pretty effective. I haven't seen any of this director's other stuff, Benjamin Brewer, but yeah, I'd say he did a pretty good job. But like a complaint that I've heard is, yeah, Nicolas Cage is not in the second half that much. Yeah, that's true. And then he just dies. Like he like they're breaking into the house. His two sons and the girlfriend are trying to fight him off, and then he gets up. He grabs the shotgun. He's holding them off while they're gonna basically blow the house up, and they're gonna like survive in this. It's like a fridge or something that's flame retardant, I guess. Um, but I was kind of like, couldn't he fit in there too? But I guess he's like thinking like I'm too messed up. I'm gonna die anyways, or I'm just gonna hold all of you behind. Cause but then he takes a couple of them out. He has like grabs a baseball bat. He takes a couple out. It was an okay action scene. I didn't think it was that good, but uh, I do kind of like how the monsters they all like connect together and they form like a giant wheel. And at the end, when the house would burn down, they're all on fire and they're chasing the two brothers and his girlfriend, and then she's like shooting a shotgun out from the back of the truck. That was kind of cool. This is different. Yeah, like the monsters maybe like remind me of something you'd kind of see in like the game Half-Life or Half-Life 2, maybe a little bit. But yeah, they never explain where they came from. I mean, did that cause the end of the world? That's not really explained. They had said something about pollution and yeah, and that caused the end of the world, I guess. Did they cause like the different nations to kill each other for some reason? I don't know. Sometimes in a movie, it's like you can explain way too much, or you can explain way too little. I think this explains too little, but maybe the explanations that they had weren't very satisfying, so they're just like maybe they cut all those scenes. You think you'd have a scene where Nicolas Cage is talking to his sons about what happened, but I guess he already would have told them because they're like 18. So yeah, decent movie. Nothing new really here or amazing, but I did enjoy it. So um, but yeah, Arcadian, a new one with Nicolas Cage. Check it out. And if you could do me a favor and smash that like button, that'd be great. Really helps the channel. And I'll see you next time.